attempts to court minority voters face-to-face, his efforts behind the podium have left many Republicans confused, apparently. The New York Times reporting this morning that the RNC was expecting this week's immigration speech to be passionate, to be measured, but, quote, when Mr. Trump instead offered a fiery denunciation of migrant criminals and suggested deporting Hillary Clinton, Reince Priebus, the party chairman, signaled that aides should scrap the plan, and the committee made no statement at all. The evening tore a painful new wound in Mr. Trump's relationship with the Republican National Committee, imperiling his most important remaining political alliance. Bring back our political panel, Betsy McCaughey. She supports Donald Trump, and Danielle McLaughlin. She is a Clinton supporter. Thank you, ladies, for coming back to the table here with us. First of all, Betsy, is Donald Trump, do you think, capable of pleasing his supporters and the party leadership? Because at the end of the day, he does need both.
That's true, but in fact, he is addressing the needs of the American people, and Americans want an immigration policy that benefits them. They want an immigration policy that will protect their jobs, that will reduce criminality, and that will stop the tremendous strain on economic resources, such as emergency rooms and public schools. If you go into an emergency room, you'll see they're scrimping on care for seniors, turning away vets, in part because the emergency rooms in many parts of the country are crowded with illegal immigrants who must, by law, be fully treated.
But Betsy, when we talk about who he needs, he does need part of the electorate who does believe in the RNC.
Well, it's true that the RNC is important, but I guarantee you they have chosen a winning candidate. There were 17 Republican primary candidates on the stage, and Donald Trump beat out the other 16, knocking them over like bowling pins. So now it's time for the American people to make their choice. It's not up to the professional politicians anymore.
Okay, well, this week there was some confusion in which Donald Trump people believed they were looking at. In particular, we saw two sides of him, one in Mexico and then 5.5 hours later in Phoenix. Let's take a look at what we saw within, say, a 6-hour period from Mr. Trump.
We're going to have the best people in the world negotiating our trade deals.
We're going to find our great people, and we are going to use them. I have the best people in the world. The best.
Now, he certainly speaks to his audience. That wasn't quite that wasn't quite what I was thinking about in terms of the sound we were supposed to have there. But he talked about, he had a very measured tone when he was, and looked very presidential, some say, when he was in Mexico. 6 hours later, 5.5 hours later in Phoenix, was very, as you heard there from the New York Times, very fiery, very different. So Danielle, as we look ahead to, say, the debates, who is Hillary Clinton preparing to meet on stage?
I strongly suspect she's preparing to meet the rally Donald Trump, the sort of angry and outlandish Donald Trump. I think the American people are having trouble trying to understand what exactly Donald Trump stands for. And the immigration example is a really good one. On the one hand, he is standing in rallies before people. He is threatening mass deportations, which frankly is impossible. And then he comes out of a meeting with the president of Mexico with a very different tone. We are 3 weeks away from early voting in South Dakota. That's 21 days. And the American people still don't know where he stands, particularly really on immigration, on education, on infrastructure, on student loan debt. He's not prepared at this point. So what would make Americans think that he's going to be prepared, in January to lead this country?
I'd like to address that. I'd like to address that question.
We only have a couple minutes.
Go ahead. Is he prepared? Donald Trump has put forward a very impressive proposal, an economic turnaround proposal. Right now, the economy is sputtering along at 1.2%, and African Americans are the most damaged by this declining economy.
But there is a question, Betsy. Is he in Detroit today for black voters, or is he there
yes. Let me make it
voters?
clear. African American voters have a choice between Hillary Clinton's demagoguery and accusations that they are victims of systemic racism, which they're not, Or on the other
well,
hand,
the data shows that they are, Betsy.
let me just finish, Donald Trump's economic plan, which will produce 4% economic growth, more take-home pay, and job opportunities, which African Americans need more than anyone else because they have been left behind. They have been the worst victims of Barack Obama's stagnating economy.
So, Betsy, if this is the case, and I only have a couple of seconds left here, and Danielle, I'll give you a chance to respond, but why hasn't he reached out to these groups sooner? He's only got 2 months left.
The campaign is short. The convention was mid-July. It's the first week in September, and he is already reaching out to African-American communities around the country. This campaign is just beginning. We have 3 presidential debates and almost 70 days left.
Danielle, 10 seconds.
Donald Trump began this campaign as a campaign on the fear of the other. So if you're a woman, if you're an African American, if you're an immigrant, illegal or otherwise, you have good cause to be suspicious of this man.
Betsy McCaughey, Danielle McLaughlin, we appreciate both of you being here today. Thank you, ladies.